Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
It is a gorgeous day that the Lord has made today. Driving down this morning with the sun shining and green grass and not too many idiots on I-55. It was a pleasant drive in God's world. It's my favorite time of year. We're just talking about listening to birds singing in the morning and getting out of our houses and rolling down our windows and hearing the beauty of creation. I think most of you know that sometimes I make rather odd connections in life between things that happen and what they mean. Now, I'm obviously not a mother, I'm a father. And my kids are all out of the house, but we've got a cat and a dog. And our dog has been very sick. 2 nights ago, I stayed up all night with him while he threw up all night long. Took him to the vet, spent a lot of money. Got up this morning and had to pick him up and carry him outside. It's kind of like being a mom. Parenting is parenting, and caring for those that we love and care about. It's a challenge for each of us and all of us, and it never goes away. Whether we're father or mother, whether our children are babes in arms or 50 years old, they're still our children, and we're still parents. So this morning I want to reflect with you a little bit on mothering, parenting, and being a child of God, because I think they all kind of run together. I want to share with you the memories of one mom. It certainly rang bells with me. I think it'll ring bells with you. She says, for the first 4 or 5 years after I had children, I considered that motherhood was just a temporary condition, that soon they'll grow up and they'll be off to college and they'll be on their way. They might be back for holidays, but they're on their own. I considered motherhood temporary, not a calling, not a vocation. It was a time of my life that I set aside for the exhaustion and long hours that I knew would come with small children. But I believed that that would pass and life would be good again. Then one afternoon, with my 3 kids in tow, I came out of Walmart pushing a cart. It had 3 wheels that were all going in opposite directions, and one that was badly worn, and it thumped every time it rotated. But I'm doing my best. And then my toddler got away from me. Just outside the door, he ran over to the bubblegum machine. And in a voice that would shatter glass, he was shouting, "Gimme, gimme, I want one, mommy, mommy, give me money." I tried physically to pry his body off of the bubblegum machine, but I failed because in the process, he just pulled the whole thing over. The glass broke and balls of bubblegum went rolling everywhere. The parking lot was a disaster, and we had attracted a crowd. You can see the people who were nodding, saying, "Yeah, she needs to take a couple of parenting classes to learn how to do this. Somebody ought to teach her how to put a harness on a 3-year-old and keep them under control." Donna Reed or even Dr. Spock, they would have brushed away my toddler's tears, and they would have forgiven him on the spot. It was, after all, just the behavior of a toddler. But I'm not Donna Reed. I'm not one of those heroes of parenting who seems always to have the right thing to say, the right thing to do, and everything just always works out fine. I told my son he'd never see another cartoon as long as he lived, and his Game Boy was history. He'd never play another electronic game in his life. And if he didn't learn to control himself, he was going to end up making license plates for the state. He tried to stifle his sobs as I continued to lecture him and as he looked around at the gathering crowd. And then he did something that I will remember for the rest of my life. He was in a helpless, almost hopeless quest for comfort and safety. And he turned to the only one that he trusted his whole self to: me. He threw his arms around my knees and held on for dear life. I had publicly humiliated him. I had chastised him. I had berated him. But I was still all that he had, and I was the most important person in his life. That single incident defined for me what it means to be a parent. I was the anchor, the safe haven in this child's life. Sometimes we forget how important reliability is to a child. She says, I've always told my children as they've grown up that the easiest part of being a mother is giving birth. The hardest part of being a mother is showing up for it every day. Now, this is the day traditionally when children give something back to their mothers for all the spit that they've produced to wash off a dirty face, and all the old gum that mothers hold in their hands and seek for a wrapper to take care of it before somebody steps in it. This is the day when children give something back in exchange for all the noses and fannies that have been wiped and all the bloody knees that have been made well. This is the day when mothers are rewarded for washing all of those sheets in the middle of the night when there's an accident. For all those days of driving kids to school when they miss the bus and sitting through all of the soccer and the football and the basketball and the cheerleading and the band. It's Appreciation Day for the moms who make them finish something, for teaching them the importance of following through. It's Appreciation Day for all those times when mom didn't believe you when you said, I hate you. And it's Appreciation Day for all the times that mom has shared their good times and their bad times. The Mother's Day cards that you'll get today probably won't say it this way, but what your children are trying to say to you is, thank you for showing up for my life. Parenting as a mother or a father is tough, demanding, disappointing, frustrating, hurtful, joyful, and not for everyone, whether by choice or by circumstance. Parenting in the real world is not the way Donna Reed did it. Father knows best. How many remember that? For how many of you has life been that way? Doesn't quite work that way. Or Beaver, Cleaver. Every day, parenting is a challenge. Sometimes we do it really well. Sometimes we impress ourselves and we think, wow, I can do this. That was really cool. And then there are days when we wonder, why on earth did we ever sign up for this? When everything we seem to do as a parent turns into a disaster. Showing up, being reliable is the best we have. You know, in nature, there are enormous contrasts in parenting. There's some contrasts that I think we probably ought to pay some attention to when we try to judge how we're doing as parents. Now, probably aren't too many snake lovers among us, but you know, snakes generally have rather large hatches of baby snakes. It's not an issue of how to pick your favorite out of the 20 or 30 that you hatched, because as soon as the last one is born, mom hits the road. She goes and takes care of herself, and those 20 little babies, they're on their own. Sea turtles, they're kind of similar. They do come up on the sand and they dig a nice warm nest in the sand. They lay their eggs and they cover them over and tamp the sand down nice and tight. And then they leave. Never to see their eggs or their hatchlings again. And something on the order of 1 or 2 out of every hatch may survive. Crocodiles and alligators, they are notorious for the videos that show the mother gingerly picking up her young out of the nest and carrying them to the water. They look like great moms, but you know, alligators and crocodiles are notoriously cannibalistic. They don't eat their own, but they'll eat everybody else's. The elephants and whales are somewhat different. They're a lot different if you like the idea of a pregnancy that doesn't last 9 months, doesn't last a year, doesn't last 18 months, lasts 2 years. 2 years of being pregnant. But when their young are born, they are not critters to mess with. They will fiercely, fiercely protect their young. Having said all of that, listen to the words of Jesus. It is by this that we know what love is, that Christ laid down his life for us. And we, in our turn, are bound to lay down our lives for our brothers. My children, Love must not be a matter of words or talk. It must be genuine and show itself in action. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hireling, when he sees the wolf coming, abandons the sheep and runs away, because he is not the shepherd and the sheep are not his. Mother's Day is Shepherd's Day. Mothering is about guarding the gate. Mothering is about laying down one's life. Mothering is about genuine, loving action. What are the qualities of a shepherd? The qualities of a parent? The qualities of a mom? But I think the first is persistence. You'll never make it as a parent unless you're persistent. You can't ever give up. You're always seeking the one. Somebody's always wandering off. Somebody's always testing the boundaries. Somebody's fallen off the swing. Somebody's caught a cold. You have to be persistent. You have to have patience that goes beyond. You have to be the one who says, let's try it again. We'll get it right. Persistence is about picking up the pieces 7 times 70. Persistence is all the holes in my annual 1 new pair of blue jeans that my mother would sew up for me. Shepherding is about generosity. The needs of the sheep take priority. The needs of children take priority. For food, for water, for shelter, for encouragement, for assurance, our children always stand at the front of the line. And shepherds are also mission-minded and open-minded. Jesus said, I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. And it can be hard to define where Jesus may go and whom he may save. But it's clear that Jesus has a large view of the world. Lutheran Social Services of Illinois is promoting Shepherd's Day, Shepherd's Sunday, seeking funds to support their programs of foster care and adoption. What better way to understand what parenting that's mission-minded is about than to say, those who take the challenge of adopting or of being foster parents are living out the life of a shepherd. Our arms are always open to the child. Shepherding is about being sacrificial. Shepherds don't flee when danger threatens. The shepherd is willing to die for the sake of those entrusted to the shepherd's care. As our parents, as our moms and dads, those who throw themselves across their child's body to save them. This is shepherding, and it's parenting, it's mothering. It is following the one who shows us the Father. And this is his commandment to us, that we should love one another, even as he has loved us and laid down his life for us. Let us pray. Good and gracious God, today we give you thanks for mothers. We thank you for all that they are and all that they are not. We thank you for all of their care, their passion, their embrace, just as you embrace us. We give you thanks. Amen.